This is the Paradise Gardens Festival, or the takedown thereof, and we're here to visit No Fit State Circus. In 1994, the Criminal Justice Act was designed to take away the travelling way of life. There's a specific section of the Criminal Justice Act, which I'll read later, which applies to showmen and travelling people. In 1996, many of the performers from the big Sexy Festy Party were looking for work and looking for ways to continue their life on the road, their nomadic life, their creative circus life, and their travelling life. Today, we're going to talk to Howard, who's one of the cornerstones of the big Sexy Festy Party and of the No Fit State crew at their show here in Hackney.
She hates it all. The boredom, the discomfort, the frustration, the view from the only window. Cross your heart and wait to die. So I go and visit her every week. I sit there and I listen to her. And I put just a little bit of sugar in her tea.
Public perception of you is as a very creative participant in a great show, straight out of Cardiff.
Yeah.
And when you go back to your hometown and people don't know you in that context, they're going to look at you in a completely different way.
Yeah.
What's that like to have that contrast?
It's strange. I think for me personally, I just get on and deal with it. Mm-hmm. And I think that the thing that upset me more that winter was I was working for Cardiff Council, providing a public service, which is basically the Winter Wonderland, the ice skating rink, the Santa's Grotto that's in the centre of town. Mm-hmm. You know, and I dedicate however many 40, 50, 60 hours a week to the council. They pay me obviously, but I'm looking after things that their kids can come to, and it's all a nice thing, and yet they don't know that, so they just look at me and think, oh, he's a bad un. Yeah. I bet they're stealing things. The worst winters, 2 winters ago, going back to essentially what's our home city in Cardiff, and being shunted and moved from pillar to post by police, bailiffs, local demolition companies, construction companies, where we find a nice quiet little spot and we'd be on their land, and they weren't due to develop for 18 months, 2 years, whatever, but they were like, we can't possibly have travellers, gypsies here, and you know, I got threatened with wrecking balls, you know. Guy from the demolition company turned up.
What do you mean, a wrecking ball on a crane?
Yeah,
literally the same way, which shows the stigma and the prejudice of the fear of people against travellers. Where this has taken me in this brief interlude is really about site provision and the 1968 Caravan Sites Act. And we started, I don't know if it was being filmed, but when the 1968 Caravan Sites Act was repealed by the Criminal Justice Act of 1994, herewith, it says, Part 2 of the Caravan Sites Act 1968, duty of local authorities to provide sites for gypsies and controlled unauthorised encampments. Definition of gypsies being a broad term of people of whatever race or origin of nomadic lifestyle, is hereby repealed. So in one fell swoop, Michael Howard takes away all duty to house people like yourself. There shall be inserted the words, and gypsies means persons of a nomadic habit of life, whatever their race or origin, but does not include members of an organised group of travelling showmen or persons engaged in travelling circuses travelling together as such. Now, in the round, it's kind of giving people rights, but also taking people's rights away. A recent development for yourself as a part of No Fit State is that you've been given an overwinter park up by the authority of the docks of the port of Cardiff.
Right, yeah.
So let's just ask you now, what difference does that make coming back from the tour and knowing that that's in place?
That was fantastic, although I think we were only given it for that 1 year. I don't know that it will happen again, although we set a good precedent of being down there and, you know, being a respectable small community of people who we supported the port on a couple of occasions where they said, oh, could you come and do something for us at our little fundraiser or this and that, and they really liked us being there. But it came down to the director of the port seeing the show and saying, wow, what an amazing bunch of people. We've got some derelict land on the port. Do you need somewhere to stay? It was
nice gesture.
I've never had that ever.
And
in 20 years, I've never had somebody say, would you like to come and stay?
Yeah.
I have met other landowners who say, look, you can't because I will get fined X £1,000 per day if I know you're here and I am allowing you to stay here. So I'm sorry, you can't. You've got to go. So I don't know how the Port Authority got around it, but it was fantastic.
Yeah.
Cardiff is it has a little gypsy camp in Cardiff, but that's not really our. It's full and packed anyway.
Yeah.
So there's no room for a lot more people, and then you really need to know those people to go and be able to move in with those people. So that wasn't an option for me. So we largely used really quiet and derelict spots. In fact, that's most of what I've done for the whole of the last 20 years. If you're very lucky, you'll find a friendly farmer, but even they can get fined for you being on their land without somebody's permission. So you find quiet spots, derelict spots, lay-bys, little disused roads, beautiful. They're always building new roads. They're always like cutting off old roads, and they're sort of perfect spots. Yet you can't. Even then, they won't let you stay there for any length of time.
And there are practical, resourceful issues like getting yourself to work, leaving your trailer in a safe place where you know it's going to be okay when you get back.
Absolutely.
Getting water, feeling safe. Those things are the things that are. You've got that here while you're on tour and you're with the show.
Yeah. But
you haven't got that when you go back to Cardiff.
Getting water is a major issue because you have to deal with it on almost a day-to-day basis. You don't appreciate in a house just how many litres come out of your taps because they're just there on tap. But when you have to go and collect your litres, whether you collect 20 litres a day or 40 litres a day, then you notice how much water you're using, and then you start to minimise things, and you don't waste things, and you water your plants with your washing up water and all those sorts of things.
Absolutely.
But leaving your vehicle,
you don't want to.
It's quite scary. My son's grandfather bought himself a plot 25-30 years ago, and he fought with Horsham District Council for the last 25 to 30 years now to stay on his own land with animals, and he's still having to fight it. So I appreciate that if I want to do it in this caravan and this, on this truck, I might be up against it.
Yeah.
But it would be great to, I'm a horticulturalist, that was my training, and so I've grown trees and planted trees, I've worked on farms, I've looked after animals as well, and that's a reason for being on a piece of land without necessarily the planning permission thing.
For sure.
And you might not even want to, as a traveller, you don't want to be there for 12 months of the year actually.
Well, you want to move, don't you?
So
but
to go look after it, move away, come back to it.
Somewhere to go back to.
Anywhere I go, in fact everywhere I've lived in the last 20 years, and they've been just all over the place, from Wales to Sussex to Cornwall to Scotland, and you look after the place. I can't bear leaving an untidy site behind.